What's better than your Italian grandma serving your 8-year-old self baked ziti? Nothing. For me, baked ziti is the ultimate comfort. It should be cheesy, saucy, meaty, a dish where everything fuses together, like the perfect marriage. But more on that in a bit. For now, I'll show you how to make the best version ever with a few insider techniques. Let's bring out the meat. Sound good? Let's cook. I've got 1 pound of loose sweet Italian sausage. Now to make this a bit beefier, I'm going to throw in 1 pound of 80/20 ground chuck. Sorry, I like really meat-heavy pastas, and the combo of beef and pork is a match made in heaven. Let's take them both back to the cooktop where I'll be cooking this glorious sauce in a 7-quart rondeau pot. I'm adding in about 3 tablespoons of olive oil and turning the heat up to medium. After it heats up for about a minute or so, let's add in both the ground beef and Italian sausage. Now once it's in there, I'm going to immediately press it down using a wooden spoon and spread it across the pan as much as I can to cover as much surface area as possible to ensure I can get a decent sear on this. The more Maillard, the more flavorful the sauce will be. You've got this. Let this sit untouched for about 3 to 4 minutes. Traditionally, this was just a cheese sauce and pasta dish, but over time, meats like veal, pork, beef, or even Italian sausage were introduced. I mean, even meatballs, salami, or hard-boiled eggs can be added. So what I'm getting to is, you can get creative with this, so have some fun. Okay, let's start to break everything up to smaller bite-sized pieces and continue to cook over medium heat, and it'll be finished in just 1 to 2 minutes more. But while we wait, I'm going to quickly slice off the ends, slice in half peel, and small dice 1 large yellow onion. I'll get about a heaping cup when I'm finished. Next, smash and finely mince up 4 garlic cloves, then let's head back over and see how the sear is going on our meat. Everything looks great, you guys, and I've got some browning going on and it's already finished cooking, which is exactly what I want. But now is when I'm going to season it up with coarse salt and fresh cracked pepper. For me, it's best to season ground meat at the end so that it will properly brown and retain its moisture, or of course, season way in advance if you want. Okay, let's set everything to the side on a plate using a slotted spoon or strainer to help leave as much rendered fat in that pan as possible. There should be a few tablespoons left in there. Perfect. Let's add another 1 or 2 more of olive oil, then add in the onions. Give it a gentle season of coarse salt to draw out some moisture so that they brown better. And then we're going to saute for a total of 5 minutes over medium heat. Then we'll turn the heat down to low and stir occasionally for about 10 more minutes. They should have a decent caramelization on them at that point, and we're getting closer to getting this sauce wrapped up. But in the meantime, let's talk tomatoes, shall we? I'm always going to be a big fan of San Marzanos. They're less acidic and naturally sweeter. However, feel free to use any of your favorite canned or jarred up tomatoes. At this point, I'm going to transfer 2 28-ounce cans to a large bowl. I know it seems like a lot, and I'll explain why in a second, but for now, swoosh around the cans with about a cup of water each to get all that goodness out of there and into my sauce. Now, using your hands, just crush everything up, and I know there's a good amount of sauce here, but it's going to be key to ensure our baked ziti isn't dried out. I mean, not even a little bit. Once the tomatoes are crushed, they should still have some chunks in it. The sauce will resemble more of a marinara and less of a smooth pomodoro sauce, you dig? Set them to the side and let's go have a look at those onions. Beautifully browned up, sweet and delicious. At this stage, I'm adding in the garlic and just going to cook it until it becomes fragrant, which is really only 30 to 45 seconds. Done. Now to give this a little more love, how about a quick deglaze of a half cup of dry white wine? And yes, any dry white will work. Next up, cook it over low to medium heat while scraping to release all the fond and until only a few tablespoons remain in the pot. Then let's hit it with our tomatoes and with another cup of water swooshed around the bowl and into the sauce along with the cooked beef and sausage. Now is when we want to add our seasonings, beginning with 1 sprig with about 5 to 6 fresh basil leaves on it and a good amount of coarse salt and freshly cracked pepper. Let's give everything a stir and get those flavors married up, and why not at this stage give it a little try. Dude, that's dang tasty already. Let the sauce cook over low to medium heat for 30 minutes, but don't sit down quite yet because we've got a few more things to prep up, and being a good home cook or chef is all about maximizing and managing time while in the kitchen. Now, for one of the most important parts to this dish, the cheese. I've got a bit of an assortment here, but one of these is not exactly like the others. So about mozzarella, I love it. It's a fantastic cheese, and it's actually quite traditional to use in a baked ziti. But honestly, to me, it tastes like firm milk. Now, if you have access to buffalo mozzarella, fantastic, but that can also be super expensive. Now, in my personal and sometimes professional opinion, provolone and fontina are amazing. They've got great flavors, far more robust than a mozzarella, and it will make the pasta infinitely better, so you should do it. I'm going to medium dice up a ½ pound of provolone and set it to the side in a bowl, and I'm thinking I'll make this a combo meal and medium dice up another ½ pound of fontina. Seriously, I can't say it enough. Use these for more flavor because next up, you may not have a choice, and that's with 1 pound of ricotta cheese, which is almost always from cow's milk in the States, unfortunately, but if you can get your hands on sheep's milk ricotta, your ziti will be master level. At this stage, I want to whip it to incorporate some air into it to make it lighter and smooth, just like this. Then, I'm adding in 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of minced fresh basil, and seasoning it with coarse salt and cracked pepper. Whisk it together and of course, try this out. So good. All this cheese is going to hold our ziti together like a tight marriage. And next up, our pasta. But first, the word ziti actually comes from southern Italy, where zito and zita mean bride and groom in Neapolitan dialect. And this was a pasta you would see at weddings, particularly popular in Campania and Sicily. The cheese in the dish was meant to bind everything together just like a strong union in a marriage. Not sure I buy that last part, but we'll go with it. So yeah. Next time you dig into baked ziti, know you're eating a dish that was basically made for love. Okay, almost pasta time, but let's have a look at our sauce real quick, and the smells in this kitchen are incredible. A really quick tip here. Do you see the tomato fond collecting on the pan? Use a rubber spatula and get all that goodness into the sauce. It's dried out and almost acts like a natural tomato paste. More umami, more flavor. Okay, now it's pasta time. I've got 1 pound of long ziti, but of course, regular cut ziti will absolutely work, or even penne or rigatoni if that's all you have access to. I promise this recipe will still be amazing, just use what you have. Now, long ziti is, well, long, and we need to break it up. And yes, it's sacrilegious to break pasta, but these are way too big and aren't going to curl up when they boil. So usually break them into thirds, or even in half will work. Plus, it makes for some good ASMR. Once it's all minced out, let's head back to the cooktop, and in a large pot of boiling salted water, we're going to add in the ziti and cook it for 5 to 6 minutes, which is about 60% of the cooking time, and I'll explain why in a minute, but for now, let's wrap up our sauce. It looks great. Nice consistency, not too thick, not too thin, perfect for ziti. Now I'm going to ruffle some feathers and add in 2 teaspoons of balsamic vinegar. I want this sauce to finish by hitting me right in the cheeks. It's better. There's just no other way of putting it. Try it for yourself. Let's give it one last taste and adjust any seasonings, because this is the end point. You aren't going to get another chance after this. And this right here is super, super good. Now let's set aside roughly 1/3 of the sauce in a separate bowl, and I will tell you why in just 1 minute. But for now, let's take the sauce pot off the heat, and it's been just over 5 minutes, so let's get our pasta out of the water. We want to undercook this because it will continue cooking once it's tossed in that hot sauce, and it will soak up all those delicious flavors, which I'm sorry to say is way better than pasta water. At this point, give it a shake and then add it to a very large bowl. We're going to spoon in all the sauce from our pot, and then I'm sprinkling in 2/3 of the cut up cheese, and using a spoon, mix everything together until it's combined, and yeah, go ahead and snag a ziti. It's too good not to. Now in a 13x9 or like size casserole dish, we're going to pull 1 6-ounce ladle of the sauce we set to the side and lay it down on a nice layer in that dish. Remember, we want this thing saucy. At this stage, let's add in half of the tossed pasta and even it out a bit before creating a layer of our whipped basil ricotta. This right here is just going to make this ziti so dang good. Do your best to spoon it on and spread it out as evenly as possible. Please don't worry if it's not perfect, it really is no problem at all. Next, sprinkle on about 1/4 cup of finely grated Parmesan. Okay, almost done, but first let's add on the remaining pasta and then another ladle of the sauce. and then evenly sprinkle on the remaining cut up cheese and a half cup of that grated Parmigiano Reggiano, and this right here already looks bomb. It's going in the oven at 375 degrees F on a middle rack, and I'm going to put it on a sheet tray just in case things drip over the side. I don't want to ruin my oven, and it's going to cook for about 30 to 35 minutes. And do not overcook this. Another big issue with this drying out is because people cook this to death. Don't do it. But even if you do, I've got an easy fix for you that I'll show you. But first, why not make one of my favorite salads while we wait? I love a fresh cucumber tomato salad with this, and honestly, this can be a bit of a free-for-all. Whether you're using Romas, yellow cherries, Camparis, whatever kind of tomato you have is good to use. The goal is to get to 4 cups large diced or sliced in half to bite-sized pieces. Same goes with the cucumbers. You can use Persians or just a regular old garden cucumber, slice them in half and add them to the bowl. And then I'm going to viciously thinly slice a half red onion. I usually don't cut like this, but hey, I want to eat. Let's wrap this up with coarse salt, cracked pepper, 2 teaspoons of dry oregano, a quarter cup of finely minced fresh parsley, 2 to 3 tablespoons of red wine vinegar, so good there, and finally a quarter cup of olive oil. Mix it up and try not to eat it all because it's go time on our baked ziti. My house seriously smells like my grandma's. I love it. This right here looks like pure perfection. I usually just like to serve it as is with some fresh basil leaves on top. But like I said I would earlier, in case you overcooked your ziti and it's dried up, this is where that extra sauce comes in handy. Ladle some of it into a bowl or a plate, then cut a nice big old fat slice of the ziti and lay it right into that sauce. In addition to it helping with the dried out ziti, this is also for those folks, like my wife, who likes a little pasta with their sauce. And seriously, come on now, enough talking already. Now if this speaks to you, then you're definitely going to want to check out my bolognese recipe video, always a family favorite. I'll catch you there. I got the crunchy. Dude. Ooh, still hot.